What's up, guys? Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, May 16th, 2018. As always, I'm Tim Geddes, joined by, for the very first time on this show,
That's crazy.
Brian ALtano.
Hi, Tim. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Thank you for coming through.
Of course.
On such short notice.
No, I love coming over here. This is great.
I love having you here.
And I miss working with you, so this is always a good time to see you.
Yeah, this is great. A very different show than Gamescast.
You have
more. There's
a
documents.
lot.
There's
You made a
paperwork
book.
here. Yeah, it's a whole thing. We run through the news. We get some reader mail. It's a fun show that you can watch live every weekday here on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames at usually around noon. But Nick sometimes likes to go really long talking about his dick. That's really all he does on that show. My mom's upset at Nick, and this is a true story.
Because of the dick thing?
My mom watches the morning show because she's an old woman that has nothing better to do.
That's great.
And it is great. But what's not great is her Facebook messaging Nick Scarpino about, how he's a perv. He's her favorite perv, but that maybe he should tone it back a bit. I'm just like, oh my God.
Oh my! So your mom messages Nick because he's a little too much with the dick stuff on the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the type of life that we need to live.
That's a
It's
good problem to have.
live. You can also get the show on youtube.com/kindafunnygames as a VOD or on podcast services around the globe, including Spotify. Just search for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Little housekeeping right now. Greg is out at Judges Week all week. He's playing a whole bunch of games.
Greg is ducking me again, is what you're saying.
Exactly. I feel like every single time.
Every single time I'm here, Greg is not here.
We need to get you on a Game Over Greggy show.
I would love that.
Because you were on episode 8 or some shit. Like so many years ago. But we gotta get you back.
The Last
on that.
Jedi of Game Over Greggy shows. Take that for what you will.
I will be out tomorrow and Friday. So the guests or the host will be Jared and Chastity tomorrow, and then I forgot who. Oh, it's Jared and Casey.
Casey DeFreitas from IGN. She's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, so watch that.
So that'll be a lot of
Chastity's
fun.
great too. So watch all those things.
This episode is brought to you by For Hims, but we'll get to that later. And the last bit of housekeeping that I just want to bring up. Did you see Cory Barlog changed his Twitter profile picture to a picture of Andy?
No.
Because he did that. Andy Cortez, Maximum Cortez on Twitter, put out his new 30-second review of God of War. You should go check that out and show it some love. But in it, he has the Kratos kind of face paint, and Cory took the image and made it his profile picture.
Oh my
God. Which is just a fun little thing.
That's incredible.
Fun little thing. Yeah. There you go.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's probably really confusing to a lot of people, but it's actually, I know Andy, and this is still really confusing. Like, even having all the information.
Even knowing everything going on.
Might make it worse. I'm like, what? Did he adopt him? I know he loves sons.
Oh, man. Let's get into what is and always will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. There we go. We got 7.
Glad there's some show still doing that.
7 news stories.
Baker's dozen.
Thank you. Before we got into the show, I was telling him the whole fucking it's out today, whatever the hell shit that Greg makes everyone do. And I was saying, Brian, like, we got to do Greg's little bits or else people get really mad. And he was like, Tim, I know.
I've been there. I have been there. We know what's going on. I'm bummed I haven't ended every Up at Noon for the last 3 years with like a shout out to Dave Fenoy. That's like,
you gotta keep that.
I'm missing
out.
I gotta get that man on that show again.
Oh my God,
hit him up.
We haven't seen him in a while.
I know. It's doing good.
First news story. We got to start with some sad news, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know if this is news as
Time
much as
for sad news.
Sony ends production of physical Vita games.
Yep.
This comes from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku. Sony is ending physical production of Vita games, Kotaku has learned. Although the hardware manufacturer says digital distribution will continue, this move will mark the end of physical cards for the maligned portable game system. Sony's American and European branches plan to end all Vita game card production by the closing of the fiscal year 2018. The company told developers today in a message obtained by Kotaku. I love Kotaku. Obtaining all those messages.
They called it maligned.
The message asked that all Vita product code requests be submitted by June 28th, 2018, and that final purchase orders be entered by February 15th, 2019. Sony's 2018 fiscal year will end on March 31st, 2019.
Interesting. So this is sad, obviously, right? Because it's sort of the end of an era, and it's I think the inevitable. We all knew this is going to happen eventually. What I'm wondering is how does this affect companies like Limited Run Games, who have sort of made a good business over the last few years of taking non-physical games and making physical versions of them. Are you an all digital kind of guy?
I'm a mix. I would prefer to be a physical guy. I really like collecting games and that type of stuff, and I like having it physically. But I feel like as time goes on, especially with the Switch, I have went with a digital collection. I feel like it's just because I want to be able to have all my games in one place.
I'm the same way, and I fly a lot, and the idea of bringing like a case with like all these little games in them and then dropping one on the floor and losing it. Although there's way easier ways to lose save files on Switch. You just lose them. So they'll die either way, right? But I'm the same way. I prefer digital stuff. I would love to have a shelf full of physical games. For Vita owners, get out there and buy whatever you need soon, because these are going to get insanely expensive. Like the collector market on physical
weird
games.
Niche things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you go back through history, like one of the rarest games for NES is a sequel to a Flintstones game, just because they didn't make a lot of them, and it's just incredibly expensive. And I think it was for the GameCube, Gauntlet Legacy is one of the rarest games in that system.
So weird.
And it's like it's a pretty good game, but it's like the kind of shit where you don't think about it until it's too late. And if you're one of those people that's trying to get a full collection of a system, which is something you can actually do on Vita, because there's a quantifiably finite amount of games on that system. Get out there and get them now.
Yeah, I do think that with the what were they called, limited run games?
Yeah.
I think that what they would have to do is just get orders in for the game cards like earlier, like before these dates. And I think that I'm sure they'll have a plan for that. But there's also not going to be too many Vita games coming out. Like there'll be all the JRPGs and the random weird shit coming, the Gal guns and all that stuff.
Yeah, there's like surprisingly still
every week,
decent amount of stuff trickles on the
games
store.
coming out. Yeah, there's Vita stuff popping up left and right. So anyway, pour one out for your boy, the PlayStation Vita.
I love that system.
Next news story. Cliff Blizinski reveals art for unproduced games after studio closure. This comes from Hope Corrigan at IGN. Blizinski posted on his personal Twitter account outlining concepts for several games, including a PvE dragon riding game in a feudal punk setting. Have you seen this?
Yes.
So yeah, last night Cliff just went on like a Twitter storm, just releasing a whole bunch of art, a bunch of ideas for different games that ended up not happening. I highly recommend go checking it out. The never to be released game was codenamed Dragonflies, and flies is like flying in the air.
Yes. Like what dragons do.
Yes. And players would take the role of a ninja or samurai living in airships who outfitted and used their dragons to face off against zombies. Dragonflies would also allow players to find and hatch eggs to raise more dragon partners. The art for this looked fucking rad.
Yeah.
Super awesome.
The art sounds great. The description sounds like a video game made by committee.
Yeah.
It's just sort of just
what
like
are all the things that we need to get into
But let's
this?
get buzzwords into this game. It's an asynchronous 100 PvP MMO with Pokemon Go aspects.
According to Blizinski, it was meant to learn from the lackluster PlayStation 3 exclusive Lair, as well as the canceled Scalebound. Another project the studio never managed to bring to light was a VR game codenamed Rover with the potential release title of Dog Walkers. Dog being an acronym for Destructive Ordinance on the Ground.
Wait, that's so... So what... In this
multiplayer game, crews would work together to control Zoid-like mechanical walkers against other teams in fights inspired by World War II tank battles.
That sounds fucking interesting.
Yeah, I'm into that one.
Yeah.
Players would take on different roles to pilot, man guns, or repair the tanks to protect them from enemies, as well as the fictional world's toxic atmosphere, which could leak into your walker upon taking too much damage. The last project revealed was another VR game, but this time with a sillier bend. Touted as a spiritual successor to Tubin, Donuts was set to be an arcade racer like Mario Kart, but with animals riding on inner tubes.
Wow.
It sported a fun cartoony art style, and ginger beer would act as health pickups or weapons if shaken up first, alongside Roman candles to try to pop competitors' tubes. You can just see this. This just makes a lot of sense. Cliff went on to say, one problem with publishers, generally, you pitch something and the response is often, quote, too similar to something we have out there, or, just no. This is too unique, so we can't do a proper financial model for it. I respect them, but as a creative, it is frustrating. And he kept going on.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch that dude's career, because it started off with like really weird indie games on PC that kind of made a name for themselves eventually. And then he went and made Gears of War, which is like seen by many as one of the best third-person games ever made, and which led on to many sequels, which is now in Microsoft's stable of very specifically. Yeah, they're big three, right? And then he kind of spent the last few years kind of aping Overwatch and Fortnite, and all those games fizzled out because I think people already were happy with the original versions of those things. And it's hard to go head-to-head with something that's so big already, right? And so a lot of these games sound interesting, but they also sound like things that people were kind of making already.
Yeah.
Or they're based on something that was almost designed to fail, like Scalebound and Lair, right?
Yeah.
Like that's that's not the best. It's not the best thing to try to ape. That said, like I wish him the best. He's been making video games his entire life.
And he's one of the few names.
Yeah.
Like there's one person with a fucking name that people know, right? Kevin Coelho.
VLC, the movie.
Shout out. So he keeps on tweeting. He says, side note, $40 million budget. So he's talking about Tubin, or what would have been Tubin.
Tubin had a $40 million budget?
Would have been a $40 million budget. So not cheap. I had this vision of people in actual inner tubes with VR headsets on at PAX paddling away. Yes, it was pitched to Microsoft, Sony, EA, 2K, Activision. Nada. Sad face. Oh, and WB. Takes a lot of stones to stand in front of a room full of executives and pitch and ask for $40 million. Multiple times. Oh, well, business is business.
I don't think people really realize that when you're a small to mid-scale video game development company, how much of your life is like Shark Tank.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's basically like you just getting up in front of rich people and being like, we have this dumb idea, like, can we make it work? And every now and then, like 3 of the guys in Shark Tank are like, yeah, sure, here's enough money to make it happen.
But more often than not, it's what he was saying. It's like, oh, this is too derivative, or it's not derivative enough. And it's finding that middle ground is super hard, and then maintaining the vision and getting the budget necessary to act on that vision. It's a whole other thing.
What I love about Cliff in this specific instance is the transparency.
Yep.
We don't get that a lot in video games. In the same way, like with movies, there's a lot of making of art books, behind the scenes documentaries, all that shit. We get so much supplemental content to find out how something was or wasn't made. Mm-hmm. Like Jodorowsky's Dune is an entire thing about like a filmmaker who almost made a movie and then didn't.
Yeah.
And there's a movie about how he didn't make a movie. And that's really fucking interesting. But in video games with NDAs and tight lips and all this kind of stuff, you don't hear anything.
Yeah.
So to find out about a bunch of games that never happened is really fucking cool.
I also think it's cool hearing him like go through the process of pitching these to all those different companies. It's like, you know, video games are announced and you're just like, oh, okay, this person's or this group's making this game, it's coming on this console. Mm-hmm. But like there's a whole process there that you don't really think about, like from the inception of the pitch.
Yeah, I don't think people really understand that there's that so much of that, like sticking your neck out and being like, can we make this? Like, video games are expensive. And I think a lot of people think that they're just kind of made by a bunch of friends in a room. And in a way, they're right.
Yeah.
You know, because that's some of the best games are made by people who really get along, and maybe they're in somebody's basement or whatever, and it grows to a bigger thing. But a lot of games need funding to even begin because employees need a coffee machine that runs and healthcare and a couple of cases of these. And if without somebody really like Nintendo or Sony or Microsoft or a third party saying like, here's enough money to do it, it just never happens. And so games just stay in a folder or a binder forever.
Yeah.
Until this.
But it's cool. It's awesome that we're in a place with Twitter that this could happen.
Yeah.
And that, you know, Cliff's in a position where he's like, hey, we tried this thing. It didn't work out, but here's some things that could have happened that didn't.
Right. It's also with crowdfunding and such, there's a chance that maybe a company with some money will look at one of these pitches and go like, oh, we love that. We
have a spare $40 million.
Yeah, come on over.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. One of those weird mobile gaming companies.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, come on make it over here. Tenjin or whatever.
Whatever. Next story, Battlefield to be revealed very soon. This also comes from IGN. EA is teasing a Battlefield reveal coming later this month, which tells players that on May 23rd, Battlefield will never be the same. The teaser website isn't much beyond background with May 23rd, 2018 emblazoned across it, accompanied by the hashtag Battlefield.
Wow.
The URL includes the slogan, never be the same. The website was discovered thanks to a Battlefield 1 Easter egg that was shared on Reset Era. Forum members are speculating on whether the announcement will be a trailer for Battlefield 5 or whether EA will be introducing a Battle Royale mode to the series. The site's source code also has a SoundCloud link that isn't active right now, but will most likely kick in near the reveal date. That's weird.
Yeah.
You're dropping a hot mixtape? Like, what?
Yeah, there's a SoundCloud?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone has a fucking SoundCloud, I guess.
All right, check myspace.com/battlefield.
See what pops up.
That's so weird.
Reset Era also points to DICE design director Alan Kurtz's Twitter account, who he said, finally going to get to see what the game I'm working on looks like on the 23rd. Ooh, not a good thing to say. Last month, it was reported that DICE was working on a prototype Battle Royale mode for Battlefield 5, although the mode supposedly won't be ready in time for the game's launch.
Oh.
There was an update to this story. The Daily Show host Trevor Noah has announced on Twitter that the Battlefield live reveal will indeed happen on May 23rd. There's a video that shows Noah sipping from a coffee mug with a logo with the Roman numeral 5, seemingly confirming the game's name as Battlefield 5.
That's bizarre. So they're going to reveal the game on The Daily Show?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, usually like Jimmy Fallon's had a couple reveals. They're usually Nintendo stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's inherently like a much more entertainment show. By the way, Philip Mewson at IGN just interviewed Jimmy Fallon last week about the Nintendo Labo Roots thing that he did with Ariana Grande.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah, they just built a bunch of like cardboard instruments and all play it together because they have that sort of like that thing where they do that. Yeah, so that's interesting. I think for the Daily Show, it's just so much. That's a political show. Right? Like, I mean, you go specifically, and it is a very specifically slanted political show. So I find that fascinating. Also, it's weird that they're like, we're going to do something that we've never done before.
It might not be during the Daily Show, though. He just might be hosting a separate event.
Interesting.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Still
all
weird.
in. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what this is.
It's funny how they're like, we're doing something brand new, and Call of Duty's always like, we're going back to the roots. Like, little line in the sand there.
Definitely. I'm interested to see I know people are sick of hearing about Battle Royale and all of that. I'm interested to see this year at E3 who are the big guys actually does adopt it and what that ends up looking like.
Yeah.
Because we obviously saw it with Fortnite and with PUBG being the janky mess that it was, right? But still being so fun, kind of introducing this genre to the world in a mainstream way at least. And then Fortnite being like, hey, we have the dev power. We can do this right. And then doing it. What does that look like on the Call of Duty level? What does that look like on the Battlefield level?
Yeah, with like that level of polish and stuff like that. I'm not sure. I'm really fascinated to see how this takes off and if it actually does. Because I remember when we played Shadow of Mordor and we were all like, every game is going to steal the Nemesis system. And no one did.
Yeah.
Right now, we're like, everyone is going to make a Battle Royale game. And no one really has, aside from like Cliff Blizinski with his new thing that just is being closed down. So I don't know. We'll see. I have a feeling they're gonna there's going to be a lot of them at E3. I would say like at least 5 of them.
Yeah.
Like, and we're just gonna be sitting. I think by like the 4th or 5th one, we're gonna be like,
all right.
Oh man, you should have gone on first.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough to watch.
Man. This next news story is of just an interesting thing. It's something that we talk about a lot, but now there's some data to back it up. So this is pretty cool. Stats show how rarely game campaigns are played. This comes from Mark Delaney at TrueAchievements.com. The Xbox site True Achievements has used their massive well of data to determine how often gamers play campaigns in traditional shooters like Call of Duty and Battlefield, and a few other titles like Batman, the Arkham series, and Dead Space. The main metric is the story participation average, whose operational definition is the average percentage of unlocked storyline achievements for gamers that have started the game. Those who even start the story modes in multiplayer-heavy games are in the minority, often by a 2-to-1 ratio, and those who actually see the story to completion are much rarer yet. What's maybe more surprising is that these numbers spanning many multiplayer-centric games are not so different from games that are single-player-only titles.
Right.
Some series, like Batman Arkham, have not surpassed an average of 50% save for the very first game. These are mostly linear games with very few distractions. More than half the players are starting them and then stopping short of playing them to completion. Across the entire landscape, numbers like these are seen consistently, so much so that it becomes redundant to list them all. An interesting thing with Destiny is literally the first 10 minutes of the game, only 66% of people have completed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So the Batman thing is fascinating to me because that is a single player game through and through. So that means there's a lot of people, or a significant portion of people, are buying games
And not beating them.
not starting them really.
Yeah.
Like they're just getting, they fuck around for a minute and
Well, it
then
sounds
they
like
get
the
out.
average is halfway through Arkham Asylum.
Oh my God, that's really interesting. Because I was going to say, okay, I understand it when there's a game that has multiplayer and single player that people will be leaning the focus
Call
into
of Duty,
multiplayer.
right?
Call of Duty. I mean, you look at something like Breath of the Wild, which is a triumphantly single player game, sold millions of copies, one of the best selling games of the year. That's fine. I think that genre is going to be safe. It's going to be okay for a long time. But a game that has both, it seems like we will see less and less of an opportunity to see a single player campaign.
I mean, with the rumors of Black Ops 4 not even having a single player campaign.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Because I feel like, do they knock the price down at all?
No.
No?
No, I mean, I think that me and Jared talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I feel like it's because of this type of data. They look at this and like, all right, we knocked it out of the park with the campaign back in the day with Modern Warfare, and we kind of continued that. People enjoyed Black Ops and all that, but then once it got to Ghost and then got to Advanced Warfare and Kevin Spacey was involved, and then they got Jon Snow. I feel like they were putting so much into that. They're like, we got to go bigger, we got to get more,
right.
We need star power, and I feel like they got so much complaints, and people were kind of like, about it overall.
No, I'm with you. I kind of dipped out. I used to play Call of Duty single player campaigns every single year.
It was an event.
Yeah, it was. And then I just stopped, and I didn't really have a specific reason. I think I just played one or two of them back to back that didn't really, not like they let me down. They just didn't really do anything for me like triumphantly, where I was like, yeah, this is great. And so I'm kind of guilty of this, because if you handed me Call of Duty today, maybe I'd play the first 5 minutes of the single player campaign, and then I'd be like, I'm going to jump into multiplayer and fuck around and see how it goes.
So I think that it's an unfortunate move, but it's a smart move, and especially if they're going to double down on the multiplayer, especially if there ends up being a battle royale mode, I'd rather it be good than having a lot of okay things together.
Yeah, I think if you're a gamer and you're listening to this and you're worried about one side or the other, I mean, Fortnite's the most popular game in the world right now. But God of War is the fastest selling PlayStation exclusive ever.
Yep.
So there's room for everybody.
Yeah.
And single player will be safe. Sony got the message loud and clear. And if you love PlayStation like I do, then that was great to hear that game sold so well, because it means we'll get more things like it.
Yeah.
But if you're really into multiplayer, then you're covered too. I think
single player shooter campaign.
Yes.
I think there's a reason to be worried about that. But then there's things like Bethesda, right? Like where Wolfenstein and Doom, where like you just need to kind of go to different places. I don't think Call of Duty necessarily is going to be that place anymore.
The last Wolfenstein I don't think it really knocked it out the park sales wise. I think it did pretty well. Critically, it was great.
Bethesda's weird like that. Like they don't like talking to Pete Hines. He's always just like, it just needs to sell enough.
Yeah.
Like we don't need our games to like break records. We'd want
that's
them to.
Awesome. That's really awesome, because I think with Call of Duty, it's ramped up so much that it's like it's everything or nothing.
If it doesn't break records, it was a failure.
Yeah,
you just see the headlines.
It's so fucking weird being a gamer and reading things like, a couple of years ago, Tomb Raider reboot sold 7 million copies, and Square Enix was like, we're kind of let down by the sales. And you're like, what? Like, what were you banking on here? So it's interesting. I hope there's room for all these genres for a very long time, but I think you will see less and less of a single player and a multiplayer in one package. What I'm worried about is like, what does this mean for something like a game like BioShock that's taken so many years off, could come back at some point? Does that come back as a multiplayer shooter?
I mean, hopefully it would be the opposite, and that would be the single player. Like there'd be more effort putting into the AAA experience as games get more and more ridiculously technical, and like the resolution needs to be higher and higher and higher. I think that at some point there needs to be a distinction of, this is a single player game, this is a multiplayer game, and it's not tacked on bullshit. And I feel like BioShock should be a single player game. Multiplayer, let's just why are we fucking doing it? It's like Metroid Prime. Single player game.
Yes.
Why was Metroid Prime 2? They have a tacked on?
Why did they have a multiplayer mode? Why was the 3D or the DS one multiplayer centric?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then Uncharted, Last of Us, right? They have multiplayer modes, and a lot of people really enjoy them. I'm not saying they're bad, but it's like, are they as good as the single player?
No, and it's like, I'm not there for that specifically, but then like you talk to some people who love the single player and then ended up playing the multiplayer for years. Yeah. So it's hard to please everybody. Definitely. And it's really tough, because we're in this spot now where, like you said, they're sort of ramping up at the expectations. You get to this point where when everything isn't there, you're let down, even if you're not actually using it. If I bought Call of Duty every year but never played the single player, and you took away the single player campaign, I'd be upset with you. Yeah. Even though I wasn't using it. I mean,
I think that is humanity in a nutshell, right? And it's like, that is the problem we're going to face, but we'll see. I'm interested in seeing the Battlefield reveal and the Call of Duty reveal, because I think that this is going to be a shake-up year of them being like, we are taking things away, or we are doing things a little bit different. Yeah, it's been a while. Those franchises don't feel like the all-encompassing things that they used to be a couple years ago. And that's not to say that they're not selling, because they still are selling. They're still reviewing very well.
Last Call of Duty was the best-selling game of last year, period, which is nuts.
It's probably going to continue to be like that. But then you got things like Fortnite, the conversation is just shifting. But it reminds me of Minecraft back in the day, where it's like, I feel like this new thing happened, and it didn't take people away. It just created a new avenue. Right.
Yeah, if you think about it, like the sales of Minecraft didn't really impact. I mean, how many other games really tried to chase that? You saw a couple like Dragon Quest Builders and Terrarium and and a bunch of the Lego Worlds and stuff like that. But none of them really took down the king. So, yeah.
Next news story. This just broke like right before we went live with the show. Very weird collaboration. Power Rangers, Cross Street Fighter.
Fuck yeah.
This comes from PowerRangersNow.com. Characters from Capcom's Street Fighter are coming to Power Rangers Legacy Wars, the hit mobile fighting game produced by Enway, which I know this sounds not good, but the game reviewed well and people do like it. I gave it a shot. Fighting games on mobile, not for me.
Yeah.
But this sounds like a game that people do enjoy. Power Rangers Legacy Wars is a multiplayer fighting game which features heroes and villains from the long-running Power Rangers TV series in combination from last year's movie. For the first time ever, the game will be adding playable characters based on a franchise outside of Power Rangers. 4 Street Fighter characters will initially join the battle: Ryu, Chun-Li, Guile, and Akuma. Fans can unlock the characters in-game beginning Thursday, May 16th, either through limited time challenges, Morph Box unlocks, or purchasing them outright at $4.99 per character. That doesn't really interest me too much.
Yeah.
But what does interest me is the idea of this working the other way.
Yes, I was just thinking that.
Getting like the fucking Green Ranger in Street Fighter 5.
Like if it's sort of like a potluck thing where like you invite me over for dinner, I bring some of the food I like to cook, and then I call you over for dinner and you do the same thing for me, then it's a good situation. Because I'd love to see Power Rangers show up in Street Fighter.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Like as just a straight up like cell shaded giant looking Power Ranger who's just beating the shit out of other dudes in Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I'd be totally into that. I actually like I feel like we're seeing it a little bit with like Soul Calibur and The Witcher and stuff like that. I miss that I feel like we had a couple
Crazy
of years
cameos
there.
of crossovers
where like
and nuts.
Yoda was showing up and like, you know, like Link and shit like that. I really miss that. And we wait for games like Smash Brothers because they're such big events and they bring so many worlds together. But we don't really see a ton of this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And it's probably licensing. Maybe it's more expensive than ever. I don't know. It's cool though.
It is cool.
I like when those doors
back.
open up.
Let's bring it here.
Let's bring it back.
Speaking of Smash Brothers, next news story: Nintendo is trying something different with E3, and I appreciate it. To shorten the time fans will need to wait in line to try Smash Brothers, Nintendo invites E3 attendees to reserve play slots ahead of time just for this game. This should provide fans with a faster, smoother experience so they can play Smash Brothers and spend more time enjoying the rest of the June 12th to 14th show.
Wow.
Attendees will have 2 experiences to choose from. They can either reserve a ticket to play against people casually for fun, or play for glory in a competitive elimination match. Anyone who registers for E3 2018 by May 31st will receive an email from E3 organizers on June 5th with details about how to reserve 1 electronic ticket to play the game, available while time slots last.
I love this. I love this so much.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Attendees should make sure to add E3 Expo at e3expo.com to their safe sender list so the email doesn't get lost in the junk folders. Signing up to play the game ahead of time is mandatory. No on-site registration will be available. Tickets will be in the form of QR code patterns that can be stored on a smartphone or printed out. For more details, you can go to e3.nintendo.com/attendee-FAQ for continuing updates. Reservations will not be taken for any of the other games in Nintendo's booth, which will be available to play on a first-come, first-served basis. And Nintendo is also encouraging people to bring their Nintendo Switch system to the show with them. Lucky owners who are spotted playing at the Nintendo booth or around the Los Angeles Convention Center could be selected by roaming members of the Nintendo team to receive an exclusive collectible Nintendo Switch pin while supplies last.
Wow.
People should be sure to bring their systems along for the opportunity to receive this one-of-a-kind swag, as well as for impromptu gaming opportunities with others.
Oh my God.
With the power of the
Okay,
Nintendo
so
Switch.
for a very long time, E3 was press only. For a minute there, it was open to the public. But in the last few years, they've opened it up to the public again. But they've done that in a way that didn't really make sense for the public. For the press, I don't think it's had any significant impact, nor should it. I see a couple people every year complaining about it,
but it's like, it's fine.
It's like, dude, do your job and have fun. Like, let people enjoy this. I feel bad or have felt bad for the fans who show up because they're effectively funneled into the system that they buy tickets for, and they don't only get to play a couple of games a day, if that. It's like if we went to Disney World and we only got on one ride, which sucks, right? And so I think now that a few years have gone by, they're starting to figure out systems to take care of those fans, because you can't just add 50,000 people on top of something and just expect it to work. So Nintendo's really smart here.
I mean, it's awesome because it's not necessary. I mean, it is necessary, but like it's not expected.
No.
And I like that they're making a big deal about this. There's a whole press release for it.
Were you at E3 last year?
Yeah.
Okay. You were there? Were you there when the doors opened?
Oh yeah, and it was.
Oh my God.
Like dangerous.
Yeah,
like that was not safe.
People wanted to play Mario Odyssey. The year before that, they wanted to play Breath of the Wild, and the doors opened, and it's just this like Lion King wildebeest stampede of people who bum rush directly to the Nintendo booth to play those games, and they line up all day. to circumvent that, so you could go play something at Bethesda or EA or Sony, and then at 2:00 just roll over to Nintendo, and beat some ass in Smash Bros. Yeah. So fucking good.
Super awesome. And like Mario Odyssey, Zelda, those are huge games, obviously.
Right.
Smash Brothers is on a different level.
It's on a different level.
When it comes to people wanting to get their hands on and play it. Like, that booth is going to be... I remember when the Wii U one was the focus of the Nintendo booth. It was chaos.
Oh my God.
So many people there that would go back throughout the day to play again.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of Smash as a demo game.
Yep.
And I think this is super smart. You're going to have 4 players at once. You can have 8, but they don't do that for demo. But 4 players at once, 2-minute matches. The line moves.
Yeah, well, every time you're there, you could try a different character, or you could try a different bunch of items, or you could just beat some ass differently. You know, or like things could go really well for you or really bad for you. Playing Breath of the Wild, it's a very dynamic and interesting game in that regard. But also, like, a 20-minute unscripted demo with Breath of the Wild is mostly kind of have an understanding of what you're doing. But the difference in playing someone like Sonic or Rob or Marth, totally different play styles.
Yeah.
And so jumping into that and experiencing it, really cool.
Yeah, the Nintendo booth the year that Smash Wii U was coming out and first playable was like probably one of my favorite E3 things I've ever been a part of, because there was just such a fun energy of the theme song blasting and everybody just like coming back to play as different characters. I think this is going to be. I think that this year they know what they're doing, and I think that Nintendo's going to have a good experience for the people that are paying to go to E3.
I haven't really like stopped to really like let this sink in. But we're like 3 weeks away from seeing a brand new Smash Brothers.
I know.
Finding out the name of it, finding out who is in it, and then spending probably the next 6 months finding out more characters that are in it.
Yeah.
I mean, they do such a good job of like...
It's going to be 6 months. I think it's going to be less. I think we're getting it in September with the online.
I agree. I totally agree.
Crazy.
Which means that they've been developing it sort of in secrecy for a long time. And we don't know if this is going to be some weird hybrid versions of the other ones, if this is going to be a completely brand new
It's going to be new. It's going to be new.
new.
Yeah, I think that it's going to use a lot of assets and similar things, but I feel like it's if other games weren't ported, like if Mario Kart 8 Deluxe wasn't a port and Pokken Tournament and all that stuff, if we hadn't seen that when Smash was announced, I don't think anyone would be like, oh, that this is just a fancy port.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if it could effectively be like a director's cut version of the 3DS and Wii U versions jammed together with a bunch of new shit and new characters. Then again, how do you even quantify that, right?
I think that it'll be as different as
Brawl
to Wii U.
Yes. Okay. I'm into that.
Or Melee to Brawl even.
Who's a character that's like just totally out there that you'd love to see?
Crash Bandicoot is mine.
Crash Bandicoot?
That would just fucking blow my mind.
I have a feeling like that could be a thing.
I don't know. Like
really?
the reason I say that, and I've said this on the show a million times, I'm sorry, is there's never been a Western third-party character in the game. And granted, there wasn't third-party characters in the game, and then there was. So anything can change. But just knowing the director Sakurai and the decisions he makes, it would be kind of out there for him to get an Activision character or Ubisoft or...
Yeah, I don't know if like Japanese gamers have even remotely close to the same like fandom that we have for a character like Crash Bandicoot. Like I don't think they grew up.
I don't know.
I really want Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
that
he's
would
just
be really
like
great.
He's so ripe for it. Like with the beam katana.
With the new one coming out too, I think that could make a lot of sense.
It's just got like the aviators, the leather jacket. It's just got his whole. I love that style. So
yeah, that'd be awesome. I think the other crazy one is Goku.
Yeah,
where it's like that's so fucking out there. God. But like that would break the internet.
Yes, completely.
Yeah,
completely.
So,
Good
we'll
Lord.
see.
Well, yeah, we'll find out in a few weeks.
Final news story of the day: Shenmue 3 got delayed. Shenmue 3 won't release this year as originally planned and instead will come out in 2019. Publisher Deep Silver gave a brief update on the game to explain the delay. The extra time will be used to polish the quality of the game even further to the high standards it deserves and release the product in the best possible time frame, the statement says. This is the second setback for Shenmue 3's release. The game was scheduled to arrive in December 2017 at one point before being pushed back to the second half of 2018.
Wow. Yeah.
Who didn't see this coming?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think with games like this, it's best. And so the interesting thing is that was announced at the same Sony press conference as the Final Fantasy VII remake,
and Last
which
Guardian.
is equally. I mean, Last Guardian is out. You can play it. That is a finished release game that exists. That is real. I wasn't totally in love with it as I wanted it to be, but I like a lot of things about it. But Shenmue and Final Fantasy VII were sort of back to back right in that press conference, and both of them are sort of in limbo right now. Final Fantasy VII, we were hearing, what was the date they said yesterday? Like 2022?
That was a mistranslation.
Okay,
like, that was they were joking about 2023, and then people were like reporting that as news, and it's not.
Which what we said on Podcast Beyond this week is like they can't make that joke.
Yeah,
because that joke is real for most of their games.
It is real, though.
Like, it happens all the time.
Yeah, we'll see. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm not convinced is ever going to actually happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like this E3, with Square having a press conference, I don't know. If they give an update on that game, I'm going to be very surprised, and then it'll really change my thoughts on it. But if we don't see it...
Do you think we'll see Shenmue 3 at E3?
At E3, probably not.
Okay. Because I don't
know where we would.
I think where would we, right? Maybe at the PlayStation conference?
Yeah, I don't think that PlayStation would want to do that.
Well, I think, so you're going to see a lot of news over the next 2 weeks of people getting ahead of leaks and then getting ahead of bad news, which is what this is if you're a fan of this game. So I think there's a chance we'll see it, because the worst thing to do is show a new trailer and at the end show a postponed release. Yeah,
I just feel like with Sony's conferences have been so dialed in the last couple of years, where like they want to fucking hit people with like the real big shit, or with updates to games that we already know about and are just getting new information on.
Right.
I don't see any advantage for them to be like, because when they first announced it, it was like, holy shit, this is news. Now it's like, oh yeah, the game that's been delayed twice and everybody fucking knows.
Yeah.
Just showing a trailer, I don't think is gonna, like, more people are just gonna roll their eyes at it than be excited.
I definitely see that point. I don't know where else it would show up, and I guess it has to fit in a box.
It has to be PlayStation. There is the Shenmue 1 and 2 HD versions coming out this year, so I'm sure those will be playable on the show floor.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know, throwing a new trailer into that package might be, or timing all that together might be a smart thing to do. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait a while to do that, Brian. But if I wanted to know what video games are coming to mom and grop digital shops today, where would I look?
I think you should check the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily show hosts each and every motherfucking weekday. I'm loving it. I think that's how that goes.
Out today, only one game.
Wow.
Now, Brian.
All that ramp up for one game? Oh my God.
I want you to tell me what you know about Lily's epic quest for hidden gems on the Xbox One.
Oh my God. Lily is back and she's getting those gems. She wants them so good. You've never seen somebody want gems more than that. Why did you don't sexualize this? She just loves those gems. It's been a long, hard day at the office, and Lily can't wait to get home and get those beautiful big gems.
Good fucking Lord. Available now on Xbox One. New dates for you. Stalker 2 has been revealed and is currently set to launch in 2021. The news was revealed via a landing website, which features the game's name and current release window. Okami HD finally got a release date on Switch, August 9th. And developer Milestone revealed Ride 3 is coming on November 8th on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and
Ride
PC.
3.
Yeah.
All right.
You
excited for Okami? What's your connection with that game?
I love Okami.
Okay.
Don't need to play it again.
Yeah.
I mean, I played it on PS2. Actually, no, I didn't. I played it on Wii.
Oh,
I didn't play it when it first came out. I played it on Wii. Right. Then they re-released it in HD on the PS3 gen.
Yes.
And I replayed like half of it. And I was like, I love this game, but I don't need to keep going. And now it just keeps coming out, which I'm happy more people are going to play it.
Same. I think it needs that sort of what they did with Wind Waker HD, where they just kind of came in and like trimmed the fat a little bit.
There is fat in that game.
Yeah, and I do like it a lot, and it's got a lot of very, very magical, very wonderful things happening in it. It's got a pretty
soundtrack's
slow.
amazing.
Oh my God, yeah.
But
good. The first few hours are kind of tedious, and then it gets to where it needs to get to, and
I feel like a lot of Zelda-style games in that generation have that problem where until you get into the dungeons and have a couple items, it's a little bit of a slog.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that was always my issue with Twilight Princess, right? Like I would love nothing more than to just have like this mixtape version of that game where I could jam through all the dungeons and temples. But instead I got to like find those sheep horses and stuff.
Yeah, the beginning of Twilight Princess, the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, good Lord. It's just why.
It's why I love Breath of the Wild. They're just like,
go.
You wake up, you're in the bathtub, and you jump off the mountain, and you're good to go. If you jump off the mountain, you'll die.
It's another Tuesday, man.
Yeah, same thing. Get those gems.
Now it's time for Reader Mail. This episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily's reader mail is brought to you by 4Hims. 4Hims is a one-stop shop for hair loss, skincare, sexual wellness for men. Thanks to science, baldness can be optional. Did you choose that, Brian?
I did.
Every day of your life, and I love you for that.
It chose me first.
Yeah? Okay. Well, 66% of men lose their hair by age 35. The thing is, when you start to notice hair loss, it's too late, like it was for Jared Petty. It's easier to keep the hair you have than to replace the hair that you've lost. Hims connects you with real doctors and medical-grade solutions to treat hair loss, well-known generic equivalents to name-brand prescriptions to help you keep your hair. There's no waiting room, no awkward doctor visits. You can save hours by going to 4hims.com. It's super easy. Answer a few quick questions. The doctor will review and prescribe you what you need. Products are shipped directly to your door, so you don't even need to leave your house. It's great. Easy for everybody.
I love that.
Andy and Nick have both been suffering from hair loss for the last couple of years and have been using 4Hims to help out. The process was super easy, and there have been people going back and forth with them, trying to find just the right products for them. There's these gummies they keep talking about that they're really, really into.
I've been getting those ads on Instagram. I think Instagram targeted the shape of my head and was like, let's help this boy out.
But yeah, there's some gummies that they've been eating daily, and they're really into it. They're all about it and feel a lot better and more comfortable with themselves. Because of this, you should order now. You can get a trial month of Hims for just $5 today, right now, while supplies last. You can see the website for full details. This would cost hundreds if you were to go to the doctor or pharmacy. Go to 4hims.com/gamesdaily. That's FORHIMS.com/gamesdaily. 4hims.com/gamesdaily. Keep your hair. First question comes through Andrew McAtoiney. Hey, Tim and Brian. Is a solid first-party game enough anymore, or do they have to be special? With recent titles like Horizon, God of War, Zelda, and Mario all receiving such immense acclaim, can Microsoft's offering in this year's E3 just be good? Can a new Gears of War game just be a solid experience, or does it have to do something special? Similar with Halo. Can Halo 6 just be another Halo, or do they have to look outside their wheelhouse and reinvent the series like God of War and Zelda have done? Thanks, love the show, and good luck to you, Brian, on your upcoming child.
Thank you so much, Andrew. So I think he mentions a lot of examples of Xbox. Mm-hmm. I think they're in a very specific situation where they really, really, really need to wow people this year. They're not on the ropes or anything like that. They're still selling a bunch. We think they're the only major console manufacturer that has not officially revealed numbers, which is odd. Yeah. I'd love to know how many systems are there. You know? Yeah. Who knows? So I think with Gears and with Halo, I don't think there's fatigue. I think the people that are really into that franchise will always be there. But in terms of bringing back people who have lapsed, you need something special.
And that's important because you're right. I feel like there is a lot of people that have left.
Yeah.
Happened
with Zelda.
The people that it did happen. Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
But with Halo 5, there's people I know that still play that game daily for multiplayer. But I do think that Halo, unlike what we were talking about earlier with the campaign stuff, the campaign of Halo is very important.
Right.
And I feel like it is a reason that a lot of people play that franchise. And I do think that they need to come with something really special. And I don't think that they're going to. I'm worried about it.
Well, I think the campaign with Halo is a little, it's so far, it's the kind of thing like where like I don't watch Harry Potter and I saw the trailer for the Fantastic Beasts 2. And I was like, this is so far removed from anything I understand anymore. Like the train has left the station for me. With Halo, it's like there's lore in the books and in like 7 different games. And there's Halo Wars, and jamming it all together, you have to find something that makes sense to people. So you have to service an audience who's always been there, and then you have to service people who are coming in for the first time, which is something that I think God of War did a fantastic job at.
Absolutely.
And I think Breath of the Wild did too. That said, I don't think every game has to reinvent the wheel. With Nintendo specifically, they were like, we're making a Kirby game, and it's just a Kirby game.
Yeah.
And it's the fastest selling Kirby game they've ever made. And it's not doing anything specifically like overhauling the franchise. It is not a Mario Odyssey or Breath of the Wild take on Kirby. It's just Kirby. And it's selling really well. It's performing well critically. People are enjoying it. And sometimes that's all you need to do. I think with Microsoft, they're in a different story. They need to convince people to buy their console right now. And we are 5 years into this generation on PS4 and Xbox One, and about 1.5 years in on the Switch, and people have nestled into their ecosystems, and it's hard to get them to uproot and move somewhere else. That said, people buy consoles for exclusives, and Microsoft has a lot of great exclusive games in their library. They just need to kind of like reinvigorate those games a little bit.
Yeah.
And get people in there. It's tough.
I was also talking to Jared a bit about this yesterday, but I'm really interested to see what Microsoft's going to do. I think that they are going to have a killer E3 this year. I feel like they're the one that I'm looking forward to the most, which is weird because I'm definitely a Sony and Nintendo guy mainly. But they're unpredictable right now because they need to bring it. You know, the question I have though is, are they going to bring it with first party exclusives, or are they just going to bring it with a lot of major third party partnerships and stuff? And I feel like Halo needs a reboot. Halo needs the God of War type. Hey, we heard you guys. We're going to give you what you want, and it's going to be fucking good. Or we're going to give you something you didn't know you wanted, but it's awesome. And I feel like Gears of War is in a different position because we just got one like not too long ago. Halo, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Halo 5 was a long time ago. But my question is it going to be this gen? Or are they going to save that for next gen and have a fresh start? I can see them with Halo coming out and just being like, hey, Master Chief Collection was a disaster when it first came out. We've been working for years to try to make it better. The Xbox One X enhanced patch is coming soon for that.
Right.
And I can see them trying to relaunch Master Chief Collection.
Yeah.
It's going to upset a lot of people, but I'm not convinced necessarily that we're going to get the Halo game on Xbox One.
Really? Because, man, yeah, I'm with you. I'm just worried that they're not going to service all the people that just bought a new console 8 months ago because they just did that, and B, convince. Do you have an Xbox One X? You do.
Yeah.
Because I've been like 50-50 on buying one because I don't know necessarily what I'm going to be using it for because I'm playing a lot of my third party stuff on PS4.
Yep.
And games like Cuphead don't need
it at all.
Yeah.
My thing is I have a really nice TV. I don't care about trophies and stuff like that.
Same.
So for me, I'm like, when Red Dead comes out, I'm going to get it on Xbox One.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
For third-party games, like I would rather play them because like the Xbox One X is
it's a beast.
It's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
And it that shit matters. I have PS4 Pro and the Xbox One and X, and I would prefer to play on the X, even though I prefer the DualShock 4. I prefer the PlayStation ecosystem, but it's like it is better.
Yeah, no, totally.
And
I'm totally
feel
with you.
like Microsoft can understands where they're at, and I just don't see them pulling a miracle. I don't see them being like, and now we're gonna end this generation with the bangers.
Yeah,
I see it more like the Wii U, where they're gonna be like, hey, we understand where we're at.
It'll just kind of fizzle out.
We're gonna fizzle out, but we're gonna come back real strong next time.
I hope they do something bold. I hope it's not their Wii U. It's very difficult to tell because it's more successful than the Wii U ever was.
Yeah.
So before you get upset at us for even comparing those things, it's not.
It's the Wii U in the sense of like I'm talking strategy only.
But in terms of console manufacturers, as we've seen from the last decade or more, cockiness sort of breeds contempt. And if you have sort of the PlayStation 2, right? Best-selling console of its time. Sold a fuck ton of consoles. Like more than anything since. Sony got out of that and they're like, here's the PS3, which stumbled out the gate.
Processor.
Yeah, $600. We can sell it without, any games like, that they came out and said shit like that. I can shoot a guy in the street and they'll still vote for me. Shit like that. You look at the Wii U, right? Nintendo came hot off of the Wii. They sold millions of systems. And they just thought they could ride off the coattails of their previous successes. Xbox One X, you look at the 360. 360 was a fucking tremendously selling system. Everyone played everything on that system. People fucking adored it. And then they just kind of like, they were like, it's always online and you can't game share. And yes, you can. And no, you can't. And yes, all this stuff. So they stumbled into the Kinect stuff. Sometimes you have to kind of get hit in the face a little bit to step back and be like, let me reevaluate how things are going. I feel bad for Microsoft because they've made a lot of great bets in the last few years that have all kind of fallen apart. Sometimes because of their own decisions, sometimes because the companies they're working with, just can't bring it together. They have a lot of ideas where they're like, we're going to have a great, strong lineup of first party and third party exclusives, and they just kind of fizzle out, or they get delayed too long, or we're still not playing Crackdown. And so I feel bad for them. That said, they've gotten every third party game. So if you want to play the best looking versions of those games, the One X is fucking awesome. But they really need to convince people that it's more than that.
Yeah.
And E3 is the time to do that.
E3 will really tell us what the future of Microsoft looks like. If we don't see Halo this year at E3, I'm convinced that the Xbox One 2 or whatever is soon.
Please don't call it that.
Let's see. Next question comes from Javier Bonet Ruiz. Hey, Tim, and welcome, Brian. Brian, I have been following your work since April 2014 on Nintendo Voice Chat with Jose and Pear, and you're absolutely, without a doubt, one of my favorite people in the industry.
Thank you so much.
You're funny, informative, and quirky. I actively listen to your album Misanthrope while playing games. My question is, with your musical talent, what video game would make the soundtrack? What game would you want to make the soundtrack?
Oh, okay. I would love to work with Suda51 on something. He's like a buddy of mine, which is weird to say because I grew up like adoring his games. And now every time he's in San Francisco, you know, he comes to my show immediately, and it's great. He's like, and we're friends that like we have a translator that helps us be friends, which is really interesting.
I love that.
I love his style. I love his sort of like his no frills, no bullshit punk rock aesthetic when it comes to game development.
Yeah. I feel like your music would fit the vibe of his games too.
Yeah, I'd love something like that. I'd love to have a couple songs on a radio station in like an indie game, or even like a GTA that took place on the East Coast. Like just have a weird fucked up like instrumental station where you play like lo-fi, slow, chilled hip hop shit at 2 o'clock in the morning while you're driving around shooting people.
Hell yeah.
You know, stuff like that would be a good time. I'm working on some stuff for some indie games right now. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
That's awesome. Next question comes from AntsInMahPants. Hey, Tim and Brian, you mentioned that you were going to Judges Week tomorrow to play some games, and Greg has been there all week playing new stuff he can't talk about. So my question is, do you think this will dehype your experience of E3 this year if you know about most of the unknown games? When during the conferences the lights go off and a trailer starts and everyone's trying to guess what it is, but you already know, do you think this will lessen the excitement of E3 for you? Thanks for doing what you do and keep up the good work. The thing about Judges Week is it's not that.
Right.
Anything that we're seeing at the press conferences, that's not Judges Week stuff. That will all be surprises that we don't know about. There's some things that we hear rumblings of or whatever, but Judges Week is mainly for the games that all the developers know are not going to get the main attention at the show, and they want to get people briefed because when there's so much going on at E3, there's all the games that are like, all right, those are cool, but are you really going to not go play Smash and play this instead? And when you're booking appointments, there's only so much time. Judges Week is kind of like, hey, we'll get all the press together and show them and tell them, pretty much read them our PR pitches and show them the game, do presentations so everyone's informed on kind of the lineups for everybody for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's I've gone into E3s having known everything from Judges Week, having being like internally pre-briefed on a bunch of secrets and press conference announcements and stuff like that. And the positivity and energy of watching the world find out about things that I already knew about is infectious.
Yeah.
There's nothing can take that away from me. I mean, as a fan, like, yes, it'd be cool to go back to the universe where I know nothing because it's just sheer surprise. And, you know, no one can ever take that from you, even though everyone always tries to. The video game industry, I always describe it as like, you're in a house with 150,000 brothers and sisters the night before Christmas, and a bunch of them are like, let's open up the presents early. You know? And they're sneaking upstairs and they're doing it, and you're like, I don't want to know, I don't want to see it. That's just what happens. Everyone right now is actively hunting down leaks. And they're showing like the Rage 2 thing. I mean, that's probably something that was going to happen eventually, but kind of tipped their hand, and then we found out more faster than we thought we would. And there's a good and a bad to that. But I still find that so goddamn electrifying, just being there. Like, especially, and you've been there for E3 with IGN. It's 100 people in a room, and we are losing our shit. Like, we were going absolutely fucking nuts, and there's nothing like that. So even when I do know a bunch of stuff, watching the world find out is really, really cool to me, because people catch things that I didn't see. People get way more excited about things that I'm not even remotely excited about. There's the context of even like the live stage shows that Sony and Microsoft do, where tens of thousands of people are losing their shit in the room. It's fucking awesome.
So fucking cool. Judges Week, and I'm not using examples of things that I actually know that are there this week, but just for reference for you guys, it's games like Far Cry 5 last year, right? We knew about that before E3. Like, it's not like it's a surprise, but that's where the press got to really see it for the first time and get the info on it. Or it would be things like Battlefield or Call of Duty. That's why the reveal events are happening around this time. It's a lot of kind of known quantities, and then kind of peeling back the layer a little more about them. Like, we know they're making a Battlefield, right? So when you go see it at Judges Week, you understand what it is, but it's not like
the news that you got out of that is they're making a Battlefield.
Yeah.
You know, because you already know it's happening.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with Far Cry. We knew about Far Cry 5, but we didn't. I mean, things were released, so we knew the setting. But Judges Week confirmed the setting.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. It's not, this game exists. Mainly, sometimes there's surprises, but like they're usually small things.
Yeah, they're pretty small.
And then next question comes from your boy Morgan. Tim, you son of a bitch. Yeah, we know this week is Judges Week. Greg's gone. Everyone's gone. But you're leaving tomorrow. What for? Why don't you tell everybody, you schemy motherfucker? We all know the Kingdom Hearts 3 premiere event is this Friday, and I need a Tim Geddes Gatorade Get Hype moment. How stoked are you? I'm super happy you're going to play it, and I expect to hear your full thoughts on Monday. I can officially now say I am going down to play Kingdom Hearts 3.
All right.
I'm going tomorrow. I'm very fucking excited. It's going to be awesome. It has been a long time in the making. I'm hoping that they tell us the release date, but I think that they might save that for
E3.
For E3.
Interesting.
At
Jonathan
their press
Dornbush from
conference.
IGN will also be there covering it.
Yeah.
That's fucking great news for you guys.
Very excited.
Good lord.
Love it.
Is that like one of those like surreal?
Oh yeah.
Like
This is one of those
thing?
moments where I'm like, I get to be one of the first people to play Kingdom Hearts fucking 3. Let's go.
I think it's like it's so important working in this industry that never goes away. I've always said to myself that the day that goes away, not for Kingdom Hearts, because personally, no connection there. But I love seeing Donald Duck get his ass beat. But the day that goes away, I will quit so that somebody else can take my place and experience this for what it is. Until then, you're not taking this from me. You'll have to fight me for it. Yeah, but in the meantime, I still get geeked out at shit like that.
Yep.
You know, I still lose it. It's kind of why I'm like I'm having like some FOMO, you know, fear of missing out of E3 because like I'm not going to E3. My first time in 10 years, and there's going to be a lot of like watching other people do things that I'm like that could have been me. You know, I could be talking to Miyamoto right now. But I've done that before, and I'll do that again. And so taking a step back and kind of like watching, I think it's going to be good to sort of reconnect me with what it's like to watching
what it used to be, which is watching every conference and then going on IGN and refreshing the page, trying to see the new news coming.
And having all these, like, you have your TV and your monitor open, and you have like one of them you're reading Twitter, and the other one you have a live feed, and one live feed crashes, so you click on another one, and like you're ordering food, you're in your pajamas, you have this whole routine, you call out of work and all that shit.
Yeah,
like
man.
That, so.
I remember me and Alfredo used to take off work and shit, come over to my house, and we would just sit and watch every year. We would just sit and watch it together.
It's such a good time. If you can get off work for it somehow, and you pull that off every year, that's pretty fucking amazing. I love just being part of that.
Yep.
It's just so fucking cool.
God, video games are cool.
Yeah,
man.
we're just so lucky that that's a thing.
Last question. This comes from GaBo. What is your review of the Nintendo Labo 1 month after its release? Is it worth it? Is it worth the purchase? Will it have longevity as long as the Switch is there? I haven't used it at all. I don't know anything about it. I saw that you did use it.
I did, yeah.
In really cool ways.
I've built them all. My issue with it as a guy that lives in a major metropolitan area where space is limited in my domicile is that I don't really have anywhere to put those things after they're done. It's a lot like Lego in that like most of the fun is building it, but without the emphasis on displaying it afterwards. Like I loved building the fishing rod. It was a fucking blast. I loved playing that fishing minigame. I won't display that fishing rod anywhere. And now I just have this like 2-foot thing made of cardboard that I don't know where to put or what to do with. And, you know, in like a couple of years, my kid will have a toy box full of junk like that. And, you know, she can mess around with it. But in the meantime, as an adult man, like I was just kind of like, I don't know where this goes. So I think it's really up to you whether or not you're going to tinker with a lot of the stuff that's included with Labo, like, you know, that whole laboratory thing that will let you kind of build and create outside of the pre-designed instructions for things. Or if you really find yourself going back to those games more often, if you make music and you're going to use the piano a lot, it's cool. But for me, the second I finished building those things, and I made one video using the piano where I like incorporated it into one of my beats. After that, I was like, I'm kind of done with this. And it was tough for me because I couldn't give them to anybody because the fun part was building it.
Yeah.
And so I could give it to somebody along with the cartridge and then they could play those games, I guess.
Yeah.
But they won't have the same appreciation I have for it because like when I'm playing the fishing game, I'm like, oh, I built a motor, you know, out of cardboard.
Yeah.
You don't know that. For you, it just looks like a crappy rod. So I don't know. I think it depends on how much you're going to tinker with the software, how much fun you have building something. And if you're really interested in playing those games over and over, which you might not be. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's an interesting spot.
Okay. Now it's time to squad up. Our boy Isa needs some help here. He's helping Guild Wars 2 on PC. You can hit him up on Discord at IsaTheEngie hashtag 0783 or pound or number sign. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it. He says, I've been trying for months to get a kill on the final boss of the Hall of Change raid to no avail. After hundreds of hours of dying to him, all my squads are starting to burn out, stop caring, or disband. I, however, am far from giving up. I may be appealing to a possibly non-existent amount of best friends, but if any of you out there have an experienced squad and are willing to have me, hit me up on Discord. I'll be extremely grateful. Go squad up with Isa. Help make his dreams reality.
IsaTheEngie. That's IsaTheEngie hashtag 0783. That's his Discord. Find this guy. Help him kill that fucking boss.
Son of a bitch.
That piece of shit. I don't even know. He might be a good guy.
Who knows? Who knows, man?
Maybe he shouldn't be killed. Maybe that's the point.
Maybe you already won. Now it's time for You're Wrong, where you can go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong to let us know everything we got wrong during the show today. Give me a second to find the iPad.
Okay.
Where is it, Kev? It's down here.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for watching Kind of Funny Games Daily. I'm Brian ALtano, and this is Tim Geddes. He's a good friend of mine. I like to come through the studio over here and have a sultry, relaxing afternoon. So thanks for joining us, and keep it locked to Kind of Funny Games. It's called vamping.
It's good.
What we did right there.
You're good at it.
Did you find it yet?
I did.
I can do it again otherwise.
Back to that.
PSA number 2. Here we go.
Let's see. What did we get wrong today? They won't know.
You said a lot of mean things
Kebab
about,
says
about Kevin.
Brian was on the 12th episode of the Game Over Greggy show.
As
well as an unnumbered one-on-one episode with Nick.
Yes. Was that a Game Over Greggy show?
That was a Game Over Greggy exclusive. We used to do one-on-ones as exclusives, but we don't do that anymore.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Fell on the margins there. Yeah. It took a while. It took like 3 months. I was worried because it was about weight loss, and I was like, I'm going to get fat again.
So here's a You're Wrong on the You're Wrong. You son of a bitch here, Michael. Michael saying the show's only 5 minutes in, but I already know you'll get one thing wrong. You will not mention that Stalker 2 just got officially announced with the 21 release date. Yeah.
Slam dunked on that.
Because we got you, bitch.
We got you, Michael. You kidding me?
God, people are so weird sometimes.
What did I fuck up? I'm sure I fucked up something.
Kebab says the rare NES game Brian was thinking about was the Flintstones Surprise at Dinosaur Peak, ranked at the 11th rarest by Site 11 points with under 10,000 copies made.
That's not a You're Wrong. That's a
sometimes
that's a we have more information than you.
Yeah, there's editorializing that we don't like, but sometimes it's fun info.
You're right, but that's what that segment should be called.
Cario Dude says the Battlefield 5 reveal is next Wednesday, but it's not during the Daily Show. So he's just hosting the event.
So we were wrong about that, or I was incorrect in my hypothesizing. Tough word. There's a lot going on in that word. It's a mess. We should retire it. Come up with a better word because it's not a great word. There's too much going on in that word. Hypothesizing.
Kebab says the last reported number of Xbox One sold was 26 million, an estimate made by research group Superdata in January 2017.
I saw the EA numbers basically where they said they effectively snitched by saying there's this amount of systems out there and people were able to sort of collate this is how much was over here and this is how much is over here. Whether or not those are true, we don't know. It's very odd that they're just not reporting on those.
Yeah,
but
maybe one day.
Yeah, they can do them.
Maybe one day. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you?
Oh, God, man. I'm on Podcast Beyond and Nintendo Voice Chat at IGN if you want to watch a PlayStation show. You probably already know that. Or a Nintendo show. We're trying to get Tim on very soon.
That'd be good.
After that, you can watch Up at Noon every Thursday at noon Pacific time on IGN.com. That is a comedy variety show I do with my good friend Max Goebel. It is also live. I don't know if it competes with some of the stuff you guys do. We're all busy. But you can find it. You can find it later. More importantly, I just launched a new show called Weird Heat, which you should check out because it's very different than anything else I do. It's effectively every 2 weeks we do a 1 hour show about one concept, sort of like disappointment or crying or depression or, optimism, like basically taking one theme. And I use that theme as an inspiration to create a new song and new music. And it's been really fun and not a lot of people know about it, but the people that do really love it. So go look up Weird Heat, subscribe
Great fucking idea.
Thank you.
Dope ass logo. I bought the shirt.
You did.
You've seen me wear the shirt.
Yeah, go to weirdheat.com, get one of those shirts.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you. And here's where we shake hands.
This is it. And we're doing an air shake. Look at that. There we go. The real shake.